You made it to the end of another day. That might not sound like much, but if today was the kind of day where making it to the end took everything you had, then it is everything, and you should know that before we go any further tonight. You made it, and now you are here, in the quiet, in the dark, in the place where the day finally has to stop because your body will not carry it any further. And that is not weakness, that is the design. That is the mercy built into the rhythm of every 24 hours, the stopping that was always going to come whether you were ready for it or not. The day is done, and whatever it held, whatever you carried through it, whatever you tried to hold together with your own two hands and your own tired mind and your own best effort, you can set it down now. Not because it is all resolved, not because the problems found their answers before you reached the pillow, but because the night was made for exactly this, the laying down of things that are too heavy for sleeping hands to hold, and there is someone waiting to hold them for you. That is what tonight is about. Not just rest for the body, rest for the grip, the loosening of the hands that have been wrapped too tightly around things that were never fully yours to carry. We are going to spend this night talking about what it means to trust. Not the easy kind of trust, not the trust that costs nothing because everything is going well. The real kind. The kind that costs you the illusion of control, the kind that says, I do not know how this ends, but I know who holds the ending. That kind of trust. And by the time this night is finished, our hope is that your hands will be a little more open, and your shoulders a little lower, and the weight a little less yours to carry alone. There is a word that gets used a lot in Christian circles. A word that sounds simple until you actually try to do it. Surrender. It sounds peaceful when you say it, and in the end it becomes peaceful. But the getting there is often anything but. Because surrender requires you to acknowledge something that the human heart resists with everything it has, that you are not in control. Not just that you are not in control of other people or the weather or the economy or the 10,000 variables that shape a life, but that you are not even fully in control of the things that feel most yours. Your health, your relationships, the people you love most, the outcomes you have worked hardest for. You hold them, but you do not ultimately control them. And somewhere in you, you already know this. You have always known it. But the knowing and the resting in the knowing are two very different things. You can know it and still lie awake running the scenarios, still rehearse the conversations, still try to think your way to a certainty that thinking cannot reach. Tonight we are not going to try harder to trust. Trying harder is just control wearing a different hat. Tonight we are going to do something quieter. We are going to look at what it actually means to put something in God's hands. What it looks like in Scripture, what it felt like for the people who did it, what happened when they let go. And we are going to ask the question that really matters, not can God be trusted in general, but can he be trusted with this? The specific thing, the one that is still sitting in your chest right now even as you try to rest. The one you have been carrying so long it has started to feel like it belongs to you. Can he be trusted with that? The answer is yes, but we are going to take the whole night to get there. Because some truths need to be arrived at slowly. Let us start with a man in a field at night, Abraham, standing under a sky full of stars, and God saying to him, "Look up, count them if you can." He could not count them, no one can. And God said, "So shall your offspring be." Abraham was old. His wife Sarah was old. They had no children. The thing God was promising was not just unlikely, it was biologically impossible by any reasonable accounting. And yet the scripture says, Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. He believed, not because the circumstances supported the belief, not because the evidence pointed toward the outcome, but because he knew something about the one who was making the promise. He knew that the God who made the stars and could not be counted was not limited by the things that limit men. He trusted the character of God more than the logic of his circumstances. That is the beginning of what trust looks like. Not a feeling, not a certainty about outcomes, a settled knowledge of who God is, a willingness to let what you know about him be bigger than what you can see in front of you. Abraham did not have all the answers. He did not know exactly how or exactly when. He just knew who. And that was enough. Tonight, whatever the impossible thing is in your life right now, whatever the thing that logic says cannot work out, whatever the relationship or the diagnosis or the situation that looks too far gone for anything good to come of it, The God who spoke stars into existence and made a promise to an old man in a field and kept it. That God is the one you are trusting tonight. He has never broken a promise, not one. In all of human history, in all of the thousands of years of people bringing him their impossibilities, not one broken promise. Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, all, not the comfortable portion, not the parts you have already released because they turned out fine. All, the parts that still feel raw, the parts you are not sure you can let go of without losing yourself, the parts you have been protecting from even God because the vulnerability feels too great. All of your heart. And lean not on your own understanding. This is the part we struggle with most, because understanding feels like safety. If you can understand something, you can plan for it. If you can plan for it, you can protect yourself from the worst outcomes. Understanding is how the mind keeps the body from being ambushed by the future. But the instruction is to lean away from it, not to abandon wisdom or ignore reality, but to stop resting your full weight on your own ability to figure things out, to stop treating understanding as the thing that holds you up, because it cannot hold what you are asking it to hold. And in all your ways, submit to him. Submit, another word that resists our nature, but look at what it produces. He will make your path straight, not easy, not obstacle-free, straight, directed, going somewhere intentional, held in the hand of someone who knows the destination even when you cannot see past the next bend. The straight path does not always look straight from where you are standing. Sometimes it looks like a detour, sometimes it looks like a dead end. But the one who made the promise about the path can see the whole of it from beginning to end, and he says it is straight. There is something important to understand about what trust is not. Trust is not pretending things are fine when they are not. It is not spiritual performance. It is not the face you put on at church or the verse you quote to shut down the conversation before it gets too honest. Trust does not require you to feel peaceful. It requires you to keep returning to the one who is peace, even when you do not feel it, even when you return with clenched fists and a tight chest and words that are more honest than elegant. The Psalms are full of this, full of people bringing God their real state, not the polished version, the actual version. Psalm 13 begins, "How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me?" That is trust. Not because it sounds trusting, but because the person is still talking to God, still showing up, still bringing the real thing instead of going somewhere else with it. Trust is not the absence of the hard question. It is the decision to bring the hard question to the right address. And tonight, whatever your hard question is, whatever the thing you have been afraid to say out loud because it sounds like doubt or sounds like weakness or sounds like someone who should have more faith by now, you can bring it here. You can lie in the dark and tell God exactly what you are afraid of, exactly what you cannot understand, exactly what feels too big or too broken or too far gone. He already knows. He has always known. He was waiting for you to bring it to him rather than keep carrying it alone. Trust begins with honesty, with opening the hands and showing what is in them instead of keeping the fist closed and pretending it is empty. Open your hands tonight. Show him what is there. He is not surprised. And he is not leaving. Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. Read that slowly. Though the earth give way. Not if everything stays stable, not if circumstances cooperate. Though the earth give way. The worst case, the thing you are most afraid of, the scenario your mind runs in the dark when the house is quiet and the worry has nothing to compete with. Even then, we will not fear, not because the earth did not give way, but because there is a refuge that the giving way of the earth cannot touch, a strength that belongs to someone whose stability does not depend on circumstances remaining stable. God is our refuge, present tense, not was, not will be when things improve, is right now, in the middle of whatever is roaring and foaming around you. Is. The psalm goes on, There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at break of day, she will not fall, not she will not be shaken, not the waters will stop roaring, she will not fall. The thing that is held by God does not fall. It may be moved, it may be shaken, it may feel for a long time like it is about to give way, but it does not fall, because God is within it. Whatever you are most afraid of losing tonight, if it belongs to Him, if you have placed it in His hands even imperfectly, even reluctantly, even with your fists still half closed, it is held by the one who says, "She will not fall." There is a phrase in Psalm 46 that I want to stay with for a moment. Be still, and know that I am God. Be still. In the Hebrew, this carries the weight of something more active than we might expect from the word still. It means to release, to let drop, to stop straining. There is an image in some translations of hands releasing something that has been gripped, letting it fall from the fingers. Be still is not a passive instruction. It is the active work of releasing what you have been holding, of unclenching, of choosing not to keep carrying what was never yours to carry alone. Be still and know that I am God. Not know facts about God. No, the deep personal knowing. The knowing that comes from history with someone, from watching them come through for you in the past, from remembering the times the waters roared and you were sure it was over and He was still there in the morning. Know that I am God. He is not asking you to feel confident tonight. He is asking you to know something, to let what you know about Him be louder than what you feel about your circumstances. You may not feel that everything is going to be all right, but do you know who holds everything? Do you know that His hands have never dropped what He has promised to hold? Do you know that the God who has been faithful for thousands of years of human history has not become unfaithful tonight? You know that. Let the knowing be enough for tonight. Not the feeling, the knowing. Be still and know. That is all that is being asked of you right now. Not to fix it, not to figure it out, not to feel more peaceful than you do. Just to be still and know. Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Come to me. The invitation is not, get yourself together and then come. It is not, resolve the doubt first. Clean up the faith first. Figure out why you have been struggling to trust and work through it and then come. Come as you are, weary, burdened, with the full weight of everything you have been carrying. Come exactly like that. I will give you rest. Not I will give you advice, not I will give you a strategy for managing the burden more efficiently. Rest, the deep kind, the kind that is not just physical but reaches all the way down into the soul. For your soul, take my yoke upon you and learn from me. A yoke is a shared load. Two animals in a yoke share the weight of the work. One does not carry it alone. And the invitation here is to share the load with the one who says, I am gentle and humble in heart. Not harsh, not demanding. Not the voice that says you should have trusted better by now, or carried less, or needed less reassurance. Gentle, humble in heart. The one offering to share your load is the gentlest carrier you will ever find, the most patient with your stumbling, the most understanding of why the weight got so heavy. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. In His hands the weight changes. The thing that has been crushing you is not gone, but it is shared. And what is shared with the one who spoke the world into existence becomes manageable. Come to me. That is where we start tonight. Just coming, just showing up. Just saying, here I am. Here is the weight. I cannot carry it alone anymore. That is enough. That is all He asked. I want to talk for a moment about the difference between trusting God and waiting for God, because they are related, but they are not the same thing. And sometimes what keeps people from trusting is that they have confused trust with the resolution they are waiting for. You can trust God and still be in the middle of the hard thing. Trust is not the exit from the difficulty. Trust is the presence of God in the middle of it. Joseph trusted God while he was in the pit, while he was in Potiphar's house working as a slave, while he was in the prison having done nothing wrong. Trust was not what got him out quickly. Trust was what kept him from being destroyed by what was happening slowly. The trusting came first. The resolution came much later, and the resolution was something so much larger than what Joseph could have planned or predicted that no amount of his own striving could have produced it. But it started with trust in the dark, in the pit, in the years that did not look like anything good was building. Tonight, if you are in a Joseph season, if you are in the part of the story that does not look like it is going anywhere good, if the pit is real and the prison is real and the waiting has been long enough that you have started to wonder if the waiting is the whole story. It is not the whole story. God does not waste the pit. He does not abandon the prisoner. He does not forget the one who trusted him in the dark. He knows where you are. He knows how long it has been. He knows what is being built in you and for you in the waiting. And the waiting has a purpose that the waiting itself cannot show you. Trust him in it. Not because the resolution is coming tomorrow, but because the one who held Joseph in the pit is the same one who holds you here tonight. There is something that happens in the body when you truly release something to God. Not always immediately, not always dramatically, but there is a physical dimension to spiritual surrender that is worth naming. The breath slows. The shoulders, which have been up near the ears without you noticing, begin to lower. The chest, which has been tight with the held weight of unnamed worry, softens slightly. The jaw unclenches, the hands open. The body knows when a burden has been handed off. The body knows when it no longer has to brace against something. And one of the kindnesses of what God does when we release things to him is that he lets the body feel the release. Not always in the mind first. Sometimes in the body first. So right now, just for a moment, take a slow breath in, and as you breathe out, let your shoulders drop. Just let them go. Let the weight of them fall away from your ears. And your hands, if they are curled or clenched even slightly, let them open, palm up, the posture of receiving rather than holding. This is not a technique, this is not a relaxation exercise, this is the physical language of trust, the body saying what the words are saying. I am not holding this anymore, I am opening my hands, I am receiving rather than grasping, and in the open hands. He places what you actually need, not always what you were holding, sometimes something better, sometimes something you could not have received with your hands full of what you were trying to control. Open hands, slow breath, shoulders down. Let the body say what you are choosing tonight. I trust you. I am releasing this. I am not holding it alone anymore. Before we move into the prayer that will close this part of the night, I want to sit for a moment with one more image, the image of a child asleep in the back of a car. You may remember this from your own childhood, or you may have seen it in your own children, or in children you love. The particular quality of sleep that happens in the back seat of a moving car at night, when the road hums beneath, and the lights of passing towns move across the ceiling and the adults in the front are handling the driving and the navigation and the decisions about where to stop and when to arrive. And the child in the back has no part of any of that. The child is not anxious about whether the driver knows the route, is not worried about the fuel gauge, is not reviewing the map or calculating the arrival time or preparing contingency plans for traffic. The child is asleep because the child knows something, not consciously, not theologically, but deeply and bodily and completely. Someone who loves me is driving. And I do not have to be awake for this part. That is the image I want to leave you with for tonight. You are not driving. You have never been driving. You have sometimes climbed into the front seat and grabbed the wheel because the silence from the front was more than you could take, because waiting in the back felt too passive, too vulnerable, too much like not doing anything. But the one who was driving before you grabbed the wheel is still there, patient, not angry, waiting for you to let go of the wheel and climb back to where you can rest. And he knows the route. He has always known the route. You can sleep in the back. You do not have to be awake for this part. Let us pray. Father, we come to you tonight with our hands full, with the weight of things we have been carrying that were never light, with the worry that has become so familiar it almost feels like a companion, with a need to control that was born out of real fear and real pain and the very human desire to protect what we love. We come honestly, not with the polished version of our faith, but the real version, the one that has doubts folded into it, the one that trusts you and also lies awake running scenarios, the one that knows your promises and also sometimes cannot feel them at 3 in the morning. You know us. You have always known us like this, and you have never once turned away from the honest version of the people you love. So here we are. We are trying to open our hands tonight. We are trying to lay down what we have been gripping, the situation that we cannot fix, the person we cannot control, the future we cannot see, the outcome we cannot guarantee no matter how hard we work or how carefully we plan. We are trying to release it to you, not perfectly. We know that by morning the grip may have returned. We know that trust is not a single act but a practice, a daily, sometimes hourly, returning to the open hands. But tonight we are choosing it, right now in this moment. We are choosing to believe that you are holding what we release, that your hands do not drop what is placed in them, that your faithfulness is not dependent on our ability to maintain the release. You hold it. Even when we forget we gave it to you. Thank you for that. Thank you for Proverbs 3, for the instruction that is also an invitation to trust you with all of the heart, not just the easy parts, all of it. And the promise that follows, that you will make the paths straight, that you are not indifferent to where we end up, that you are actively directing the steps of the ones who submit their ways to you. Thank you for Psalm 46, for the reminder that you are our refuge and our strength, that the earth can give way and the mountains can fall into the sea and you remain, that she will not fall, that the thing held by you cannot ultimately be taken down, that your help comes at the break of day, that the morning always comes. Thank you for Matthew 11, for the invitation to come as we are, weary, burdened, with nothing figured out and nothing resolved, just coming and finding rest, finding a yoke that is shared and a burden that is lighter because you are carrying the other end. Thank you for Abraham under the stars, for the reminder that trust was not invented as a spiritual concept, but was lived out by real people in real impossibilities who chose to believe the character of God was bigger than the logic of their circumstances. Thank you that the stars are still there, that the promises made under that ancient sky are still in effect, that the God who said so shall your offspring be is the same God who sees our impossibilities tonight and is not limited by them. We trust you with tonight, with the sleeping hours, with the things the mind will try to revisit in the dark, with the fear that sometimes wakes us before the alarm, with the uncertainty about tomorrow. We trust you with all of it. Watch over the ones who are carrying the heaviest things into this night, the ones who got news today that changed the landscape of their life and have not yet found the ground under their feet again. Hold them with particular tenderness. Let them feel that they are not falling even when everything has shifted. Let them find in the dark what is too hard to find in the noise of the day, the quiet certainty that you are still there, that you were there before the news and you are here in the aftermath and you will be there in everything that follows. Watch over the ones who are in the middle of a long wait, who have been trusting you with something for months or years, who started with open hands and have had to keep choosing open hands over and over as the waiting continued. Honor that faithfulness. Let them feel in this night that the waiting is not waste, that you have not forgotten, that the promise is still alive even when the evidence has been quiet for a long time. Watch over the ones who are tired of trying to figure out how to trust, who have read the verses and heard the sermons and know the theology but are lying here tonight still gripping. Be patient with them, be close to them, do what only you can do, which is reach past the doing and meet them in the being. Let trust arrive not as an achievement but as a gift, given quietly, in the dark, when they had stopped trying to manufacture it. Watch over the ones who gave up on you for a while and are finding their way back, who are not sure yet if you are safe to trust with the real things, who are testing the water before they wade in. Be exactly who you are with them, patient, gentle, not demanding a fuller trust than they have to give right now. You know where each one is tonight, and you are meeting them there. The night is just beginning. 4 more parts wait ahead, but this first part has done what it needed to do. It has brought us to the starting place, the place of honesty about what we carry and who we are invited to carry it with. We are not alone in the driving tonight. We are not alone in any of it. The one who holds the stars holds this, whatever this is, however heavy it has become, however long the carrying has been, however many times the hands have closed around it again after trying to release it. He holds it. And he holds you. Not because you have trusted perfectly, not because the faith has been unwavering or the hands have stayed open every moment, but because he is the kind of God who holds on even when we let go, who is faithful even when we are faithless, who keeps the promise even through the seasons when we forget the promise was made. That is who you are trusting tonight. Not a God who requires perfection from the trusting before he extends the holding. A God who holds first, who loved first, who came first, who crossed the distance first, and who is here now, in this room, in this dark, in this ordinary night that is full of his presence, whether you feel it or not. He is here, and you can rest. Let the breath slow, let the shoulders drop, let the hands stay open. We will pick up here in part 2. But if sleep comes before then, that is exactly right. The God who is watching over this night will keep watch while you rest. You do not have to stay awake for the ending. He has already made it good. You are still here. Maybe you drifted a little and came back. Maybe you have been awake the whole time. Maybe sleep has been just out of reach tonight and the mind has been louder than you would like. Either way, you are here. And that is enough. And we are going to keep going together. Part 1 ended with an image. A child asleep in the back of a car. Someone who loves me is driving, and I do not have to be awake for this part. We are carrying that image into part 2. Because the hardest thing about trusting God is not the deciding to trust. Most of us decide to trust 100 times. We say the words, we mean them, and then something shifts. The worry comes back, the grip tightens, the mind starts running the scenarios again, and we find ourselves back at the beginning, wondering why the trusting never seems to stick. It is because letting go is not a single moment. It is a practice, a returning, a choosing again and again to release what keeps finding its way back into the hands. Tonight we are going to sit with what the letting go actually looks like. Not the idea of it, the real texture of it, what it felt like for the people in Scripture who did it, what it costs, and what it gives back. Because the letting go does cost something. That is worth naming honestly. It costs the illusion of control. It costs the comfort of feeling like you are doing something. It costs the false safety of keeping the worry close, because at least if you are worrying, you feel like you are paying attention. But what it gives back is worth infinitely more than what it costs. It gives back rest, real rest, the kind that reaches all the way down. And we are going to find our way there tonight. Psalm 55 verse 22. Cast your cares on the Lord and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken. Cast, it is an active word, not placed gently, not set down carefully. Cast, the way you cast a fishing line, with intention, with effort, with the deliberate release of something from your hand into somewhere beyond your reach. Cast your cares, not your tidy concerns, not the manageable worries, your cares, the deep ones, the ones that have been with you so long they have started to feel like part of your identity, the ones that wake you up, the ones that follow you into the shower and sit with you at the dinner table and whisper in the quiet moments that something is wrong. Those ones, cast them on the Lord, and he will sustain you. Not he will immediately resolve the situation, not he will remove the thing that is causing the cares. He will sustain you. He will hold you up in the middle of it. He will be the thing underneath you when your own strength gives out. He will be the ground when the ground feels like it is gone. He will sustain. He will never let the righteous be shaken. Never. That word does not leave room for exceptions. Does not say usually or in most cases or except when the situation is too far gone. Never. The one who is held by God is not ultimately shaken, not permanently, not in the ways that matter most. He will never let you be shaken. Take that with you into the night, not as a promise that the difficulty goes away, as a promise that the foundation holds, that you are held, that the shaking does not get the final word. Cast and trust the catching. I want to talk about Peter for a moment. Not the walking on water Peter, a different moment. The moment in John 21 after the resurrection. After Peter had denied Jesus 3 times in the courtyard, after the guilt had settled in and the shame had become a weight that Peter was carrying into every room he entered, Jesus appears on the shore, calls out to the disciples in the boat, tells them to cast the net on the other side. The net fills to breaking, and John says to Peter, "It is the Lord." And Peter jumps into the water. He does not wait for the boat. He does not compose himself. He does not prepare what he is going to say or figure out how to address the 3 denials before the conversation starts. He jumps in. He swims to Jesus. That is what the letting go looks like sometimes, not a dignified, carefully managed release. A jump, are throwing yourself toward the one you have been trying to get back to, soaking wet and breathless and not knowing yet what is going to be said, but knowing that being near him is better than staying in the boat. And what does Jesus do when Peter gets there? He has made a fire. He has bread. He has fish cooking. He prepared something for Peter before Peter arrived, before the conversation, before the restoration, before anything was resolved. He had already made the meal. Whatever you are carrying tonight that feels like something that needs to be dealt with before you can come to God, whatever shame or failure or distance or doubt has made you feel like you need to have something more together before you approach, jump in anyway. He has already made the fire. He has already prepared something. He was ready for you before you started swimming. Isaiah 43 verses 1 through 3. But now, this is what the Lord says, He who created you, Jacob, He who formed you, Israel. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. The redemption came before the instruction. He does not say, get things right and then do not fear. He says, I have already redeemed you. The work is done. The belonging is established. Now from that place, from the security of being already redeemed, do not fear. I have summoned you by name, your name. Not a general invitation to humanity, your specific name. The one your parents gave you, the one that is only yours. He knows it. He spoke it before you were born. He speaks it still. You are mine. Not you could be mine if you improve. Not you were mine before you started struggling. You are mine, present tense. In your tiredness and your doubt and your imperfect trust and your hands that keep closing around the things you keep trying to release, you are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. Through, not around, not lifted over, through. And the promise is not that the waters will be shallow or the fire will be cool. The promise is, I will be with you. The presence is the promise. And when God is with you in the water does not sweep over you. He is with you in whatever you are passing through right now. Whatever the water is, He is in it with you. And you will come through. One of the things that makes letting go so difficult is that we have often been let down by people we trusted. This is worth saying plainly because it is true for so many people, and it is never named in the conversations about trusting God. You have trusted people with things that mattered, and they did not hold them carefully. You gave someone access to your heart, and they did not protect it. You depended on someone, and they were not there when the moment came. You believed a promise and watched it break. And somewhere in the body, in the places where the old pain lives, there is a learning, a hard-won protective learning. That trust is dangerous, that open hands get hurt, that the safest thing is to hold your own life tightly and not give anyone else the opportunity to drop it. That learning was born out of something real. It deserves to be acknowledged rather than dismissed. But here is what needs to be said alongside it. God is not those people, not because it is a nice thing to say, because it is literally and historically and provably true. In all of human history, there is not a single instance of God breaking a promise He made. Not one. The record of His faithfulness spans thousands of years and millions of lives in every kind of circumstance, including the ones that looked for a long time like He had forgotten. He has never forgotten. He has never dropped what He promised to hold. He has never been the reason the trust was broken. The ones who hurt you were not God, and the caution you learn from them is understandable. But do not apply it to the only one who has never given you a reason for it. He is safe, not comfortable necessarily, not always what we expect or want in the moment, but safe, utterly, completely safe. You can trust Him with the things the others dropped. Luke 12 verses 22 through 26. Then Jesus said to His disciples, Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens, they do not sow or reap, they have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable you are than birds. Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? Consider the ravens. Jesus does not say consider the theology, does not say consider the doctrine of divine providence. He says look at the birds, actually look at them. the ones flying past your window, the ones that were fed this morning without a plan or a savings account or a contingency strategy. They were fed, they will be fed tomorrow. They have never once gone without because God forgot to provide. And how much more valuable you are than birds. How much more? The one who feeds the ravens knows your name. The one who clothes the wildflowers knows your situation. The one who attends to sparrows has counted the hairs on your head, and he is not going to stop providing for you because the circumstances got complicated. Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life? This is the gentle logic of Jesus, not a rebuke, a question. Has the worry ever added anything? Has the lying awake running the scenarios ever produced an outcome that the rest would not have produced? Has the grip ever held together what would have come apart without it? It has not, it never has. The worry costs, and it does not pay back what it costs. Lay it down. Let him provide. Consider the ravens. There is a moment in the story of Moses that I have always found quietly extraordinary. The Israelites are at the edge of the Red Sea. Pharaoh's army is behind them. The water is in front of them. There is nowhere to go. The situation by every human assessment is over, and the people are doing what people do in that moment. They are panicking. They are angry. They are saying to Moses, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die?" And Moses says something remarkable. "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. You need only to be still." In front of an impossible sea, with the army approaching, with no plan and no path and no visible way through, you need only to be still. And then the sea opened. The deliverance that came that day was not produced by human effort or human strategy or human courage. It came through the stillness, through the standing firm, through the decision to stop thrashing and let God be God in the impossible moment. Tonight, whatever your Red Sea is, whatever the water in front of you and the army behind you, whatever the situation that has no visible path through it, you need only to be still. Not because being still makes the path appear, but because the one who parts the water does not need your help parting it. He needs your stillness, your trust, your willingness to stop and watch and let him do what only he can do. Be still. The sea is going to open. I want to talk about the night garden, Gethsemane. Because if we are going to talk about letting go, we have to go there, to the place where the letting go was most costly, most human, most honest. Jesus, knowing what was coming, falling with his face to the ground, saying, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me." If it is possible, he asked. He brought the real request. He did not perform a trust he did not feel. He said the honest thing, "I do not want this. If there is another way, take this from me." And then, "Yet not as I will, but as you will." 5 words, the most expensive words ever spoken, the handing over of the thing he most wanted to hold, the release of the will into the hands of the Father. Not as I will, but as you will. That is the letting go at its deepest, not the letting go of a situation or an outcome, the letting go of the will itself, the surrender of the right to determine what happens next. And the Father did not take the cup away. He sent an angel to strengthen Jesus. He stayed close. He did not leave his Son alone in the garden. But he did not remove the cup. And because the cup was not removed, because Jesus held the open hands all the way through, every person who has ever lived has the possibility of being held by the God who holds everything. Your letting go tonight is not Gethsemane, but it comes from the same place, the same decision to say, "Not as I will, but as you will," to trust that the Father's way is better even when it is harder, even when the cup does not get taken. He was there in the garden, he is here in this room, and he is holding you through every cup you are asked to drink. Let us slow down even further now. The night is getting deeper. The body is heavier. The thoughts, if you have been following along, are quieter than they were when you first lay down, and that is exactly where we want to be, in this slower, quieter place. I want to ask you something. What is the one thing you are holding most tightly tonight? You do not have to say it out loud. You do not have to even fully form it into words if it is the kind of thing that lives beneath words. Just let it be present, let it be acknowledged. The thing that has been in the background of this whole night, the thing you brought to bed with you, the thing that will still be there in the morning unless you do something with it right now. Let it be here, in this moment, between you and God, and now. With the breath that comes next, try something, try releasing it, not solving it, not understanding it, not figuring out the path through it, just releasing it, opening the hand that has been holding it and letting it go from your grip into his. It may come back. That is okay. You release it again. It may come back 100 times tonight. Release it 100 times. Each release counts. Each moment of open hands is a real act of trust, even if it is brief, even if the grip returns. The practice is the point. The returning to the open hands is the faith, and he receives it every time. Every single time you release it, he receives it. He does not grow impatient with the number of returns. He does not sigh when the grip comes back. He simply receives it again, quietly, faithfully, as many times as you bring it. Release it now, into hands that will not drop it, and breathe. There is a kindness in the way God receives what we give him that is worth staying with. He does not take what we release and hold it at a distance. He does not store it away somewhere inaccessible. He holds it close, with the same care that a father holds the thing his child hands him. The broken toy, the handful of wildflowers, the piece of paper with a drawing on it that means everything to the child and looks like nothing to anyone else. He holds it as if it matters infinitely, because to him it does. Your worry matters to him, your fear matters to him, the situation you cannot resolve, the relationship that is broken, the health scare, the financial pressure, the grief that has nowhere to go, the future that will not come clear no matter how hard you try to see it. All of it matters to him, not because he needs it, because you brought it, because it is yours, and you are his, and everything that is yours matters to the one who holds you. Cast your cares on him, for he cares for you. That is from 1 Peter 5 verse 7. And the word cares at the end is worth noting. He does not just receive the cares out of duty, he cares. He is genuinely invested in you, genuinely attentive to what you carry, genuinely moved by what moves you. He cares for you, not from a distance, not as a manager overseeing a situation, as a father with a child he loves, as a shepherd with a sheep he knows by name, as the one who counted your days before one of them came to be and who has never once looked away. He cares for you. Let that land somewhere deeper than the mind tonight. Let it go all the way down, into the place where the trusting either lives or does not. He cares for you. Sometimes the hardest thing to release is not a situation. It is a person. The child you are lying awake worrying about. The parent whose health is failing. The friend who is making choices you cannot stop. The spouse whose pain you cannot fix. The person you love who is walking through something you cannot walk through for them. We hold people tightly because love makes the holding feel necessary, because caring about someone and not being able to control what happens to them is one of the most uncomfortable places a human being can occupy. But there is something important to understand about releasing a person to God. Releasing them to God does not mean releasing your love for them. It does not mean becoming indifferent to what happens to them. It does not mean withdrawing from them or stopping the care or the prayer or the presence. It means releasing the outcome, the control over what happens, the burden of being the one responsible for making everything turn out right for them. That burden was never yours to carry. Love assigned it to you, but love was wrong about the assignment, because you were never equipped to carry it. You do not have the reach or the knowledge or the power to ultimately protect anyone from everything, but he does. The person you love is known by him more fully than they are known by you, loved by him more deeply than you are capable of loving, held by him more securely than your arms can hold. Releasing them to God is not giving up on them. It is placing them in the safest possible hands, the ones that have never dropped anyone they promised to hold. Release them tonight, with love, with open hands, into the arms that are already around them. Let us pray. Father, we have been sitting with the letting go tonight, and it is harder than it sounds. You know that. You made us. You know how the hands close and the chest tightens and the mind reaches for control when the uncertainty gets too loud. You understand the grip. You do not condemn it. You just keep inviting us to release. So here we are again, releasing. The situations we cannot fix, the relationships we cannot control, the futures we cannot see, the people we love and cannot protect, the fears that have been with us so long they feel like permanent residents. We are releasing all of it to you right now, not because we have figured out how to trust perfectly, but because we know enough about who you are to believe that your hands are safer than ours. You are the God who parted the Red Sea and told the people to be still. You are the God who prepared a meal on the shore for a disciple who had failed. You are the God who made a promise to an old man under the stars and kept every word of it. You are the God who was in the garden and drank the cup and came out the other side with the keys of death and Hades in your hand. You have never been overwhelmed by anything we bring you. You have never looked at a situation and said, "This one is too much." You have never dropped what you promised to hold. We trust you tonight, imperfectly, but genuinely. We trust you. Watch over the ones who are releasing people tonight. The parents who are lying here trying to let go of a child they are afraid for, who love so fiercely that the releasing feels like a betrayal of the love. Remind them that releasing to you is the highest form of love available to them, that you hold the child more carefully than any parent can, that the love they feel for that child is a small reflection of the love you have for them. Watch over the ones who are releasing outcomes, who have worked and prayed and hoped and are coming to the end of their own ability to affect the result, who are in the place where the only thing left is trust. Meet them in that place with particular presence. Let them feel that the releasing is not defeat, that handing it to you is the most powerful thing they have done with it yet. Watch over the ones who are releasing the version of their life they thought they would have by now, the ones for whom the gap between the expected and the actual has become a grief they carry quietly, who are letting go tonight not just of a situation but of an image of themselves and their future that they have been holding for a long time. Hold them gently in that releasing. Let them find that what you have for them on the other side of the released expectation is not less than what they hoped for. Let them find it is more, different, more suited to who they actually are, more aligned with the plans you have for them, plans for a future and a hope. You know what each one needs to release tonight, and you are receiving everything that is brought to you. The night is yours, not in the sense of being empty or unguarded, yours in the sense of being held, watched over, attended to by the one who neither slumbers nor sleeps, who has been awake since before the word awake had meaning, who is as present in the third hour of the night as he is in the brightest moment of the day. The dark does not diminish him. The quiet does not mean he has moved away. The absence of the noise that fills the daytime is not the absence of his presence. It is often the opposite. The quiet is where his voice is most clearly heard, the still small voice, the one that does not compete with the noise but waits for the silence. He is speaking into this silence right now, not with words that require the conscious mind to process, with the language of presence, the language of warmth, the language of being known and held and not alone in the dark. Let yourself receive it. You have done the work of the releasing tonight. You have opened the hands as best you could. You have brought the honest thing. You have sat with what it costs and chosen it anyway. Now receive. The sustaining that Psalm 55 promised, the presence that Isaiah 43 named, the rest that Matthew 11 offered, the provision that Luke 12 described. It is here, in this room, in this moment, being given to you, not because you earned it, because he gives it, because he is the kind of God who prepares something before his people arrive, who makes the fire, who has the bread ready, who meets the swimmer coming in from the water. He is here, and he has prepared something for tonight. Receive it, rest in it, let it do its quiet work while you sleep. Part 2 is ending, but the night continues, and so does he. The same God who was present in part 1 is present now. The same God who will be present in part 3 is present now. The presence does not depend on which part of the script you're in. It does not take a break between sections. It does not clock out when the voice stops. He is here continuously, uninterruptedly, without pause or absence or distraction, and you are held continuously, in the same way, without a moment when the holding stops. So if sleep comes now, before part 3 begins, welcome it. It is a gift from the one who designed your body to need rest and designed the night to be its home. The closing of the eyes is not the closing of his attention. He will keep watch while you sleep. He was keeping watch before you lay down. He will still be keeping watch when the morning comes. You are held. The hands are open now, or as open as you have been able to make them tonight. And that is enough. He takes the imperfect offering. He receives the partial release. He He honors the effort of the trust even when the trust is still finding its way. Open hands, slow breath, the weight a little less yours than it was an hour ago. That is the work of this night. That is enough. Sleep now if sleep will come. The God who holds the night is holding you in it. And you are safe, and you are not alone. And the morning will bring what the morning always brings, mercy, new, without condition, without requirement, just there, waiting for you when the light comes. Rest now. We are deeper into the night now. The house is quieter than it was. The world outside has slowed. The thoughts that were loud when you first lay down have been losing their edges. And you are here, still in this with us, and that matters. We have talked about what trust is. We have sat with the letting go. We have opened the hands and brought the honest thing and released as best we could. Now we go deeper into the still water. Because trust is not only about the releasing, it is also about the receiving. About learning to be in the quiet place, the place beside the water that does not rush or demand or frighten. The place where the soul stops trying to produce something and simply receives. That is where we are going in this part of the night. Into the stillness. Into the place where the good that God works in all things begins to become visible. Not always in the circumstances. Sometimes first in the soul, a settling, a softening, a quiet knowing that something is being tended to even when you cannot see the hands doing the tending. The shepherd does not only lead through the valley, he leads beside still water, and the still water is not a reward for surviving the valley. It is part of the same journey, the same path, under the same shepherd's care. You are on the path tonight. The valley and the still water are both on it, and the shepherd knows every step of both. Follow him into the quiet. Psalm 23 again. But tonight we are going to move through it even more slowly than we have before, not reading it, inhabiting it, taking each line as a room and sitting in it before moving to the next. The Lord is my shepherd. Say it in your mind, not as a recitation, as a statement of what is true right now, in this bed, in this dark, in this particular night with all of its particular weight. The Lord is my shepherd, not was, not will be when things improve. Is. Present tense, actively attending to you right now, knowing where you are, knowing what you need, knowing the terrain ahead even when you cannot see past the next step. My shepherd. That word my is one of the most personal words in all of Scripture. Not the shepherd of the righteous in general, not the shepherd of people who have their faith more together than you do tonight. Yours. The one assigned to you. The one who knows your name and your history and your particular set of fears and your specific brand of stubbornness and your capacity for trust on a good day and your tendency to grip on a hard one. That shepherd is yours. And he is not off attending to someone whose need is greater. He is here with you, specifically giving you his full attention. The Lord is my shepherd. Let that be the first room you sit in tonight. Do not rush past it to the green pastures. Stay here for a moment. In the truth of the my, the personal, the specific, the intimate belonging of a sheep to its shepherd, you belong to him, and he is here. I shall not want. This line has comforted people for 3,000 years, and also confused them, because people who love God and trust God want things all the time. Want things and do not receive them, want the healing and the provision and the restoration and the answer, and sometimes none of those come in the form or the timing that was wanted. So what does it mean, I shall not want? It means this: you will not lack what you truly need, not what the fear says you need, not what the comparing mind says you need, not what the version of your life you planned requires, what you actually need, what the shepherd who made you and knows you and loves you can see you genuinely need. That you will not lack. The shepherd does not always give the sheep what the sheep thinks it needs. Sometimes the sheep thinks it needs to go one way and the shepherd leads another, and the sheep resists and pulls and has opinions about the route, and the shepherd is patient with the opinions and firm about the direction. Because the shepherd can see the cliff the sheep cannot see. The shepherd knows the terrain. The shepherd knows where the wolves are and where the water is and which path is actually safe. I shall not want. Trust the shepherd's knowledge of what you need tonight, even if what you need does not match what you have been asking for, even if the provision looks different than you expected. The shepherd is not withholding from you. The shepherd is giving you what is genuinely good for you, and there is a difference between the two that only becomes visible from a higher vantage point than the one the sheep occupies. I shall not want. He knows. He provides. He is faithful. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Makes me, not suggests, not hopes I find my way. Makes. There is enormous comfort in that word for the person who cannot stop on their own, who lies down but cannot rest, whose body is horizontal but whose mind is still standing and moving and doing. He makes. He is the one doing the making tonight, not you. You did not manufacture this quiet. You did not produce the stillness that has been settling over you through these parts of the night. You received it. He made it. He created the conditions. He quieted the things that needed quieting. He slowed the pace that had been too fast for too long. He made you lie down, in green pastures, not in a difficult place, not in a place that requires vigilance. In the green, in the soft, in the place where the grass is good and the ground is safe and the sheep has everything it needs to simply be still. That is where you are tonight, in the green pasture he prepared, in the rest he made for you before you knew you needed it, in the place the shepherd chose because he knew this was what the sheep required after the day it had just walked through. Lie down, not metaphorically, actually. Let the body settle deeper into the bed. Let the muscles release a little more of what they have been holding. Let the breath slow to the pace of someone who is actually resting and not just pretending to. He has made this place for you. He has led you here. Lie down in it. Receive it. Let it be what he made it to be. Rest. He leads me beside still waters. Still. Not the water that demands your attention. Not the water that moves fast enough to require your footing and your balance and your constant readiness. The still water, the quiet pool, the place where the surface is undisturbed and you can see your own reflection and lean down and drink without fear of being swept away. He leads you there. He does not just point toward it. He leads. He goes ahead. He knows the path. He has walked it before you and will walk it after you and is walking it right now beside you step for step. He leads me beside still waters. If the night feels far from still right now, if the waters inside have been rushing rather than quiet, that is all right. That is what the leading is for. The shepherd does not wait until the sheep is already calm before leading it to the calm place. He leads the anxious sheep, the worried sheep, the sheep that has been too much in its own head for too long. He leads that sheep with patience, with the unhurried confidence of someone who knows exactly where he is going. You are being led there now, to the still place, to the quiet pool. Feel the leading, the gentle direction of the night itself toward rest, the way the words have been working, the way the breath has been changing, the way the weight has been shifting from yours to his. That is the leading. He is taking you somewhere, somewhere quieter, somewhere that the soul can finally exhale. He leads me beside still waters. You are almost there. Romans 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. All things. Not the easy things, not the things that were always going to work out, not the things that looked good from the beginning. All things. The things that hurt, the things that did not make sense, the things that felt like they were working against you. The detours and the delays and the doors that closed and the plans that fell apart and the years that looked like nothing was happening, all of those. God was working in all of those. Working, present and active and intentional, not observing from a distance and hoping for the best. Working, with purpose, with direction, with the kind of long view that sees the end from the beginning and is not worried about the middle the way the ones in the middle are. For the good, not just any outcome, good. The specific good that he has in mind for you, the good that is tailored to who you are and what you need and where you are going, the good that only he can see from where he stands. We know. Paul uses that word deliberately. Not we hope, not we believe sometimes, we know. It is settled, it is certain. It is the kind of knowledge that does not depend on the circumstances looking like it is true. We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. Tonight, whatever the thing is that looks like it cannot possibly be working for good, whatever the situation that seems too broken or too far gone for God to produce anything good from it, He is working in it right now. Even in the not yet, even in the still broken, He is working, and the working is for good, your specific good. We know. I want to tell you about a woman named Hannah. You find her in the first chapter of 1 Samuel. She is in the temple, and she is praying with such intensity that the priest Eli thinks she is drunk. Her lips are moving, but no sound is coming out. She is pouring herself out before God. She had been carrying something for a long time. The inability to have a child. In her culture, this was not just a personal grief. It was a source of shame and a daily wound and a weight that her husband's other wife made sure was never far from her awareness. She had been praying about this for years. Nothing had changed. And on this particular day, she goes to the temple and she prays with everything she has. She makes a vow. She puts the whole thing in God's hands. And then the scripture says something remarkable. Then she went her way and ate something, and her face was no longer downcast. Before anything changed, before the prayer was answered, before the child was conceived or born or even promised in any visible way, her face was no longer downcast, because she had released it, because she had put it fully in God's hands, and in the releasing, even before the resolution, something shifted. The burden was still there. The circumstances had not changed, but she had done the thing that changes the relationship to the burden. She had handed it over, and in the handing over she found she could eat, she could go, her face could lift. That is available to you tonight. Not the answer yet, maybe not for a while, but the shift that comes from the genuine releasing, the face that is no longer downcast, the ability to rest even while the waiting continues. Jeremiah 17 verses 7 and 8. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. Like a tree planted by the water, not a tree in the middle of the desert surviving on what falls from the sky. A tree planted, deliberately, by someone who knew what the tree needed and put it where the supply would be constant, by the water, where the roots can go down deep and find what they need regardless of what is happening on the surface. It does not fear when heat comes. The heat still comes. The drought still comes. The difficult season is real. The tree planted by the water is not exempt from the hard seasons. It does not fear them, because what feeds it is not the rain on the surface. It is the deep water, the constant supply, the source that the drought cannot reach. Trust is the root system. The deeper the roots go into the water, the less the surface conditions determine the condition of the tree. The person whose confidence is in God is not immune to difficulty. They are not shaken by it in the same way. Because what sustains them is deeper than the difficulty can go. Its leaves are always green, not sometimes, always. In the good season and the hard season, in the year of plenty and the year of drought. Green, living, bearing fruit. That is what trust produces over time. There is something that happens to the soul when it has been genuinely trusting for a long time. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. It is more like a gradual change in the quality of the light. The way the sky in early morning does not suddenly become bright. It just slowly becomes less dark, and then less dark again, until the light is simply there. That is what sustained trust does to a soul. It does not remove the hard things. It changes the way the hard things feel inside. The worry that used to take up the whole room begins to take up less room. Not because the situation improved, because something grew stronger than the worry, something deeper, something rooted, the peace that passes understanding. That is the phrase Paul uses in Philippians 4, a peace that does not make logical sense given the circumstances, a peace that guards the heart and mind, that stands at the door and keeps out what has no business entering. You cannot manufacture that peace. You cannot produce it by trying harder or worrying less or reading the right things. It is given. It is a fruit of the trust, a consequence of the planting by the water. And tonight, in this quiet, in this slow moving through the still place, it is here, not because you have done everything right, because you have been The still water is also a place of seeing clearly. When the water rushes, you cannot see through it. The surface is broken and the depth is hidden and everything is movement and noise. But the still pool, the undisturbed surface, that is where you can see all the way to the bottom, where things that were hidden in the rushing become visible in the quiet, and in the stillness of trusting God. Things become visible that the rushing of self-reliance conceals. You begin to see the times He came through that you forgot to mark. The provision that felt like coincidence. The open door that appeared after the one you wanted closed. The relationship that brought the exact word you needed in the exact season you needed it. The moment of grace that arrived just before the breaking point. You begin to see the pattern, and the pattern is faithfulness. It has always been faithfulness. He has been faithful in ways that the noise of the managing and the striving made invisible. But in the still water, looking back, the faithfulness is everywhere. He has never once not shown up. The timing has sometimes felt late. The method has sometimes felt strange. The answer has sometimes looked nothing like the question, but He has always shown up. And what He has been in the past, He is now, and He will be tomorrow, the same faithful God. The one who parted the water and prepared the meal. I want to speak for a moment to the part of you that is afraid that trusting God means giving up. That the people who say let go and let God are the ones who have stopped caring, who use trust as an excuse for passivity, who spiritualize their inaction and call it faith. That is not what we are talking about tonight. Trust is not the absence of effort, it is effort with open hands. It is doing what you can do with the full acknowledgement that the outcome belongs to God. It is planting the seed and watering it, and then releasing the harvest to the one who gives the growth. Paul worked harder than almost anyone in the early church. He planted churches and endured beatings and traveled thousands of miles and wrote letters that changed the world, and he said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Through Christ, not instead of effort, through. The effort was real, the dependence on God was also real, the two coexisted, the work and the trust together. Trusting God tonight does not mean you stop doing the things that are yours to do. It means you stop carrying the weight of the outcomes. It means you bring your effort and your skill and your best work, and then release the results to the one who determines results. You do your part, He does His, and His part is infinitely larger than yours. That is not giving up. That is the most effective way to live there is. Fully engaged, fully dependent, working with open hands, do what is yours to do, and release what was never yours to carry. That is the whole of it. The night has a texture when you are truly resting in it. Not sleeping necessarily, but resting, the body heavier, the breath slower, the thoughts less sharp. The distance between one thought and the next wider and wider until the thoughts stop arriving altogether and there is just the quiet. That is where we are heading now, into the part of the night where the words begin to matter less and the presence begins to matter more, where the truth that has been spoken settles below the level of conscious processing and becomes something the body holds rather than something the mind handles. The shepherd is still here in this part of the night. He does not leave when the words stop. He does not require your attention to maintain His presence. He is simply here, the way the air is here, the way the ground under the bed is here, constant, undemanding, reliable. And in this quiet presence, the restoring happens. He restores my soul. Not the mind first, the soul, the deepest part. The part that the exhaustion reaches all the way down into. The part that a good night's sleep alone cannot fully reach. The soul that has been depleted by the carrying and the worrying and the being too much in charge of too many things for too long. He restores it, quietly, in the night. The way the tide restores the beach by simply being what it is, without fanfare, without requiring the beach to do anything except receive. You are receiving right now, whether you feel it or not. The restoring is happening. The shepherd who made that promise has been keeping it every night since He made it. He is keeping it tonight. Your soul is being restored. Rest in that. Let us pray. Father, we are in the still place now, the quiet place, the place You prepared for us at the end of this long day in this long season. We are grateful for the stillness, for the green pasture and the still water, and the path that has been straight even when we could not see where it was going. We are grateful for Romans 8:28, for the truth that all things are in your hands and all things are being worked for good, even the things we could not understand, even the things we are still in the middle of. We are grateful for Hannah, for the reminder that the face can lift before the answer comes, that the releasing itself brings something real even before the resolution arrives. That trust is not just the vehicle to the outcome, but a gift in itself, a change in the quality of the carrying. We are grateful for the tree by the water, for the image of roots going down deeper than the drought can reach, for the promise that the one who trusts in you will not fear the heat, will not wither in the dry season, will bear fruit even when the surface conditions say there is nothing to produce from. Let us be that tree. Let the roots go down tonight, while we sleep, while the conscious mind rests. Let the deep work happen, the growing of the root system, the deepening of the trust, the quiet establishing of the soul in the water that does not run dry. You are that water. Watch over the ones for whom the still water feels far away tonight, the ones who are in the rushing water, who are being tumbled by circumstances too fast and too strong and are struggling to find the stillness we have been talking about. Do not ask them to be still before you bring them to the still place. Bring them there yourself, the way the shepherd brings the anxious sheep, patient, unhurried, knowing the way. Watch over the ones who have been trusting for a long time without seeing the fruit, who planted themselves by the water years ago and have been faithful and have kept the roots down but are tired of waiting for the green that was promised. Honor the faithfulness. Let them feel tonight that the waiting is not waste, that the roots they cannot see are real and deep and doing work that the surface cannot yet show. Watch over the ones who are new to this, who are trusting you for the first time tonight or for the first time in a long time, who came to this night with more doubt than faith but came anyway. Receive them exactly as they are, with the imperfect offering of a trust that is just beginning. Let the beginning be enough. Let the seed be honored the way all seeds are honored, with water, with time, with the patient attendance of the one who gives the growth. Watch over the ones who fell asleep before this prayer. They gave you what they had, their willingness to lie down, their attempt at the open hands, their tired bodies that needed the rest more than the words. Receive that, as the offering it is. You know what each one brought tonight, and it was enough. Still waters. That is where we are. That is what this part of the night has been. The quiet movement beside the water that does not rush, the shepherd leading and the soul following, and the pace slow enough that the beauty of the path can be noticed. You are not in a hurry tonight. You do not have to be anywhere. You do not have to produce anything or solve anything or hold anything together. You are beside still waters, under the care of the shepherd who knows your name, in the hands of the God who works all things for good, rooted in the water that does not run dry even in the drought season. And something is being restored, not fixed, not necessarily resolved, restored. The word the psalm uses for what the shepherd does to the soul, the returning of what the day and the season and the carrying took, the refilling of what was emptied, the repair of what was worn. He restores my soul tonight, in this quiet, in this still place. He is doing that. He is returning to you what the carrying cost. He is filling what the worry emptied. He is mending what the uncertainty frayed. And when morning comes, you will rise with something in you that was not there when you lay down, not everything healed, but something restored, something that was depleted that is less depleted, something that the night and the shepherd and the still water gave back. Rest now in that restoring. Let it happen. Receive it. Part 4 is waiting when you are ready, but if the still water has done its work and the sleep is here, let it come. The shepherd is watching. The night is well along now. You have traveled a long way since the day ended, through the opening of the hands and the letting go and the still water, through the truth that God works all things for good, and the image of the tree planted by the stream and the soul that is being quietly restored. And now we come to something that may be the most settling truth of all. He has always been faithful, not just in general, not just in the stories of other people in other centuries. In your own life, in the specific terrain of your own days, He has been faithful. even in the seasons that did not feel like it, even in the years when the evidence was quiet and the silence felt more present than the voice. He was faithful then too. That is what this part of the night is about. The long faithfulness, the kind that does not depend on the circumstances cooperating, the kind that stretches across the whole of a life and can only be seen properly when you step back far enough to take in the whole view. We are going to step back tonight. We are going to look at the long view of faithfulness in Scripture and in the quiet places of your own story, because trust is not built in a moment. It is built on a record, and God has a record, a long one, an unbroken one. A record that spans every generation of every person who has ever brought him their impossibility and found that he did not disappoint. He has not started disappointing now. Whatever tonight holds, whatever tomorrow is bringing, he is the same God, with the same record. And the record says faithful. Let that settle in, deep, like roots going down into water. He has always been faithful, and he is faithful tonight. Lamentations 3 verses 22 and 23. Because of the Lord's great love we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail, they are new every morning. Great is his faithfulness. Because of the Lord's great love we are not consumed. Lamentations is not a comfortable book. It is a book written in the aftermath of devastation. Jerusalem has fallen. The temple has been destroyed. The people are in exile. And the writer is sitting in the ruins of everything that was supposed to be permanent and finding his way to this. Because of the Lord's great love we are not consumed. Not despite the devastation. Not after the restoration, in the middle of it, in the ruins, in the exile, in the place that looks like everything is lost. We are not consumed. The things that should have finished us did not finish us. The things that looked like they were going to take us all the way down left us standing. Diminished perhaps, shaken perhaps, changed in ways we would not have chosen, but not consumed. Because of the Lord's great love, his compassions never fail, never. In the ruins of Jerusalem, in the aftermath of everything the people had built being taken away, never. The compassion of God did not fail. It was there, in the ruins, with the grieving writer, showing up in a faithfulness that the circumstances were actively contradicting. They are new every morning, not the same worn compassion recycled. New every single morning, a fresh supply, regardless of how much the previous day required, regardless of how depleted the night left you. Morning comes and the compassion is new. Great is his faithfulness, not adequate, not sufficient, great. The faithfulness of God is not a small, steady thing. It is enormous. It is larger than the devastation, larger than the ruin, larger than the exile and the loss and the long, hard night of whatever you are in. Great is his faithfulness, yours too, tonight, in whatever the ruins of this season look like. Hebrews 11 is sometimes called the Hall of Faith. It is a chapter that moves through the history of the people of God and names the ones who trusted him when trusting was the hardest available option. And the thing that strikes me every time I read it is not the outcomes, it is the trusting itself. By faith Abel, by faith Enoch, by faith Noah, by faith Abraham, by faith Sarah, by faith Isaac, by faith Jacob, by faith Joseph, by faith, by faith, by faith. Each one trusted before they could see what the trusting would produce. Each one held the open hands in the darkness before the light came. Each one chose to believe the character of God was bigger than the logic of their circumstances. And then the chapter does something unexpected. It names people who trusted and did not receive what was promised in their lifetime, who were tortured and imprisoned and killed, who wandered in deserts and lived in caves. And it says these were all commended for their faith, even though none of them received what had been promised. The trusting was honored even when the visible outcome did not come, because the outcome they were trusting toward was larger than the outcomes of a single lifetime. They were trusting toward something that God was building across generations, something that their individual faithfulness was a part of, even when they could not see the whole of it. Your trust tonight is part of something larger than tonight. The faithfulness you are choosing in this dark season is being woven into something that God can see from the beginning to the end, something that your descendants may benefit from in ways you will never fully know. By faith, you are choosing it tonight, and it is being honored, even now, even in the not yet. I want to tell you about a moment in the life of Elijah. Not the fire from heaven moment, not the dramatic confrontation with the prophets of Baal, the moment after. After the fire and the victory and the dramatic demonstration of God's power, Elijah runs. He goes into the wilderness and sits under a juniper tree and says to God, "I have had enough, Lord. Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." The man who had just seen fire fall from heaven was sitting under a tree asking to die. Because faithfulness is not a permanent emotional state. Because the people who trust God most deeply still have moments of profound depletion, still reach the end of themselves, still sit under their juniper tree and say, "I have had enough." And what does God do? He does not rebuke Elijah, does not say, "After everything I just did for you," does not review the fire and the victory and ask why that was not enough to keep Elijah's faith strong. He lets Elijah sleep. He sends an angel to touch him and say, "Get up and eat. The journey is too much for you. The journey is too much for you." God says that. He acknowledges the weight of the journey. He does not minimize it or spiritualize it or turn it into a lesson about needing more faith. He says the journey is too much, and he provides food, rest, another touch, and then the strength for what comes next. If you are under your juniper tree tonight, if you have had enough and the tank is empty and you have run out of the reserves that were supposed to carry you further, God is not surprised. The journey is too much for you. He knows, and he is sending what you need. Rest. Eat what he provides. Let the angel touch you. You will have strength for the morning. Psalm 121. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. He will not let your foot slip on the path that you cannot always see clearly, in the terrain that is uneven and sometimes frightening. He will not let your foot slip, not because the path is smooth, because he is holding you on the unsmooth path. Because his grip does not depend on the terrain cooperating, he holds you through the rough places. He holds you through the places your own feet would not be enough to navigate. He who watches over you will not slumber. He is awake right now. While you sleep, he will be awake. While the conscious mind rests and the body lets go of the day, he is awake, watching, attending, not distracted, not tired, not wishing he could hand the watching off to someone else for a few hours. He watches over you, personally, specifically, with the same quality of attention in the middle of the night as at the brightest moment of noon. He is watching right now. You're coming and going, you're lying down and rising, you're sleeping and waking, both now and forevermore. You are not unguarded for a single moment, not one. He is watching. There is a concept in the Old Testament that is worth sitting with tonight. The Hebrew word chesed. It is translated in different ways depending on the translation. Loving kindness, steadfast love, mercy, faithful love. No single English word fully captures it. Because chesed is not just love, it is love that keeps its covenant. Love that holds to what it promised even when the other party has not. It is the love that stays. God's chesed is one of the most repeated themes in the Old Testament. Psalm 136 says his steadfast love endures forever, and then repeats it in every single verse of the psalm, 26 times. His steadfast love endures forever. The repetition is not accidental, it is the point. The endurance of his love, the staying quality of it, the fact that it does not withdraw when things get complicated or when you disappoint or when the faith wavers or when the trust fails and the grip comes back. His chesed endures, not conditionally, not with an asterisk, not unless. Endures, through the good seasons and the hard ones, through the faithful seasons and the ones where you wandered, through the years when you felt close and the years when you felt nothing. He stayed, his love stayed, his faithfulness to you stayed. That is who you are trusting tonight. Not a God whose love is contingent on your performance, a God whose chesed endures forever, whose steadfast love is the ground under everything, the thing that holds when everything else shifts. His steadfast love endures forever. Say it in your mind, let it be the thing that carries you into sleep. His steadfast love endures forever. The long faithfulness shows up in small things too. And this is worth naming. We spend a lot of time looking for the dramatic evidence of God's faithfulness. The parting of the sea, the fire from heaven, the miraculous provision. And those things are real and they matter. But the small faithfulness, the daily, the ordinary, that is where most of the trusting happens. And that is where most of the evidence is too. The morning that came after the night you were sure you could not survive. The breath that kept coming without your asking for it. The thought that arrived at exactly the right moment with exactly the word you needed. The person who showed up. The door that opened, the small mercy that did not announce itself as a mercy until later. The faithfulness has been in all of those. Quiet and present and working in ways that the noise of the managing made easy to miss. Think back tonight, not to the dramatic moments necessarily, to the ordinary ones, the Tuesday afternoons that were hard and somehow became Wednesday mornings. The seasons that felt like they would never end and ended. The things you were sure you could not carry that somehow got carried. He was in all of those, working, tending, faithfully attending to the details of your life that felt too small to pray about and too large to handle alone. He was there. He has always been there, in the small, ordinary places where most of a life is actually lived. That is the long faithfulness, not just the miracles, the Monday mornings, the ordinary grace, the persistent presence in the unremarkable hours. He has been faithful there. He is faithful there still. There is something that the writer of Lamentations does that I want to point out. He does not pretend the ruins are not ruins. He says, "He has driven me away and made me walk in darkness rather than light. He has turned his hand against me again and again all day long. He has made my skin and my flesh grow old and has broken my bones." He says the hard thing, the honest thing. He does not gloss over the devastation to get to the theological comfort faster. He sits in the ruins first. He names what is broken. He brings the whole of it, the loss and the grief and the feeling of having been driven away and forgotten. And then, from within the ruins, he chooses. Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Yet. That word carries so much weight, not because the ruins are not real, not because the devastation has been resolved, yet, in spite of, from within, from the rubble of everything that has fallen. Yet this I call to mind. He makes a decision, a deliberate act of the will, to call to mind the faithfulness that the circumstances are contradicting, to reach for the truth that the feeling is actively arguing against. To choose hope, not because hope is the obvious emotional response to ruins, because it is the only response that leads somewhere worth going. Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Tonight, if you are in the ruins of something, if the devastation is real and the grief is honest and the pretending would be wrong, you do not have to pretend. But you can make the same choice, from within whatever is broken, to call to mind the faithfulness, to reach for the hope. Yet. His compassions never fail. Yet. They are new every morning. Yet. Great is his faithfulness, from within the ruins. Yet. The people in Hebrews 11 trusted without seeing the full picture. And so do we. We do not see why the thing we are in the middle of is happening. We do not see what is being built in us by the waiting or the difficulty or the unanswered prayer. We do not see the end of the story from where we are standing in the middle of it. But they did not see either. And they trusted. Abraham did not see the nation. He saw a promise and a sky full of stars and chose to believe that the one who made the promise could be trusted with the fulfillment. Joseph did not see the purpose of the pit from inside the pit. He saw betrayal and injustice and years of waiting. And somewhere in those years he kept his integrity, he kept trusting, he kept being faithful to what was in front of him, even when what was in front of him was a prison. Moses did not see the promised land. He led an entire generation through the wilderness and died before the entry. His trusting was not rewarded with the outcome in his own lifetime. And yet, they are all named in the Hall of Faith, honored, commended, not for receiving everything they trusted for trusting. The trusting itself was the point. You're trusting tonight, in this specific season, with this specific weight, even without the resolution, even without the answer, even without the clarity about what comes next. That trusting is seen, it is honored, it is being woven into something larger than tonight. Trust is never wasted, not one night of it, not one open hand, not one moment of saying, not my will but yours. It all counts, every bit of it, and it is all seen. Let us slow the pace down now. The night is in its deepest hours, the place where the world is its quietest and the soul is its most open, and the things that need to settle have the best chance of settling. The breath is slower now, or it should be. If it is not, take one slow breath in right now and let it go slowly, all the way out, until the lungs are empty, and then let the next breath come on its own, without forcing, and again, and notice the body, the weight of it, the heaviness that comes when the muscles finally release what they have been holding, the way the bed receives the weight, the way the pillow holds the head, the way the darkness is actually a kind of comfort when you are inside it rather than afraid of it. You are inside the night now, not outside it looking at it fearfully, inside it, held by it, in the presence of the one who made it. He is here in this slow pace, in this heaviness, in this deep quiet place between waking and sleeping where the thinking stops and the receiving begins. He is not waiting for you to produce anything more tonight, not more faith or more surrender or more understanding of what it means to trust. You have given what you have, and it was enough. Now receive. The compassions that are new every morning are already prepared for when the morning comes. You do not have to reach for them yet. They will be there, new, without any effort from you. Right now is the night, and the night is for this, for the breath, for the weight, for the heaviness of a body that has done its work and can finally stop, for the receiving of the faithfulness that has been here all along. I want to speak to the part of you that is afraid the faithfulness will run out. That is a real fear, that God has been patient and faithful and present, and one day the supply will not be there, that the compassions that are new every morning will one day not be new, that the steadfast love that has endured for all of human history might find its limit in your particular case. It will not. Not because your need is small, your need may be very great, but because the source is infinite, because the one who provides has no depletion point, has no bottom to the well, has no end to the supply of what you require. He does not grow tired of you. He does not grow tired of your need. He does not look at the number of times you have brought the same fear and sigh and wish you would work through it already. He receives it, every time, with the same fullness of attention, the same quality of care, the same genuine investment in you and your well-being. You will not exhaust him. And the morning that is coming, whenever it comes, will have new compassions in it, not the recycled remnant of tonight's supply, new, made for that morning, for whatever that morning holds, and the morning after that, new again. His steadfast love endures forever, not until the situation gets too complicated, not until your faith gets too weak or your trust too imperfect or your need too great. Forever, you will never reach the end of it. Not in this life, not in the life to come, not ever. The supply is endless, and it is yours. Let us pray. Father, we have been sitting tonight with the long faithfulness, with the record of who you are across the whole of human history and across the specific smaller history of each of our lives. And the record is faithful, every time, without exception, in every generation, in every kind of circumstance, in the dramatic moments and the quiet ones, in the ruins of Lamentations and the fire of Elijah and the pit of Joseph and the wilderness of Moses. You are faithful, you are faithful, you will be faithful, great is your faithfulness. We are grateful tonight for the chesed, for the steadfast love that has no condition attached. That stays when we wander, that remains when we doubt. That endures through the seasons when we grip and the seasons when we release and every imperfect in between. You stayed, you have always stayed. Thank you for the hall of faith, for the reminder that trust without seeing is honored, that the ones who trusted and did not receive in their lifetime were commended for the trusting itself, that our imperfect nighttime trust is being seen and honored and woven into something larger than we can currently see. We trust you with what we cannot see, with the parts of the story we are in the middle of, with the chapters that have not been written yet and the outcomes we cannot engineer and the futures we cannot guarantee. We trust you with all of it, not because we have arrived at perfect faith, because you have a perfect record, and your record is better evidence than our feelings. Great is your faithfulness. Watch over the ones who are in the ruins tonight, the ones for whom the honest thing is that everything feels like it has fallen, who are not in the comfortable middle of a hard season but in what feels like the aftermath, who are sitting in what Lamentations describes and trying to find their yet, Help them find it, not by minimizing the ruins, by being present in them, by being the God who shows up in the fallen places and builds something new from the rubble, who has always been better at restoration than the ruins were at destruction. Watch over the ones who are tired of trusting, who have been faithful for a long time and are running low on the reserves that kept the trust going, who are at the juniper tree, who have had enough and need the angel to come. Send the angel, touch them, let them eat, let them sleep, and when they have rested, let them find that the journey continues and the strength has been replenished, and the long faithfulness of God has not shortened on account of their depletion. Watch over the ones who are trusting for the first time, who have not yet seen enough of the record to know it by heart, who are extending a tentative trust into an uncertain night and hoping it lands somewhere safe. Let it land in you. Let the first experience of bringing something to you be the beginning of a long history of discovering that you are faithful, that you receive what is brought, that the trust always lands somewhere safe. And watch over the ones who are trusting for the 100th time with the same thing, who have brought this particular burden so many times they have lost count, who wonder if bringing it again tonight counts for anything. It counts. Every return counts. Every opening of the hands counts. Every imperfect act of trust in the dark is received and honored. You know each one, and you are faithful to each one. The long faithfulness has a morning coming, whatever the length of this night, whatever the length of the season you are in. A morning is coming, not because the difficulty resolves necessarily, because mornings come, because the God who made the rhythm of day and night built the morning into the structure of the world, and it arrives, new, without condition. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. Psalm 30 verse 5. Not maybe comes. It is the movement of the thing, the way the tide comes in, the way the light comes after the dark, not as a reward for surviving the night correctly, as the nature of morning. Rejoicing comes in the morning. You may not be at the morning yet. The night may still have hours in it. The season may still have months or years. But the morning is in the direction you are heading. It is built into the design. And the God who has been faithful through every night of every life of every person who has ever trusted him is bringing you toward that morning. Step by step, hour by hour, night by night, he is bringing you toward the morning. And the morning will have mercy in it. New mercy. The kind that does not depend on what the night held. The kind that is simply there when the light comes because God put it there. Rest now, in the faithfulness that holds through the night, and trust that the morning is coming. It is always coming. We are almost at the end of part 4. One more part waits, the final part, the one that will bring everything together and close the night with the blessing that has been spoken over God's people for thousands of years. But if sleep is here now, if the body has reached the place where the words are fading and the weight is complete and the breathing has gone slow and steady, then sleep, the final part, will be there if you wake in the night and need it. It will be there in the morning if you want to begin the day with it. But it will not be lost, and neither will you. The God of the long faithfulness is the God of this specific night. He was faithful before you lay down, and he is faithful now, and he will be faithful when the morning comes, whether you heard the last words or not. His faithfulness is not administered through a script. The script is just the river. He is the water. And the water keeps flowing through the night, through the sleeping hours, through every moment of the rest that the body and the soul require. He keeps flowing, faithful, present, tending, and you are in the water, held by it, carried by it, not swept away, carried. The way a river carries something it has received, gently, purposefully, in the direction it has always been going. Toward the morning, rest now. The long faithfulness has you, and the morning is coming. You are safe, you are held, and he is faithful. Great is his faithfulness. We have come to the last part of the night together. If you are still here, still awake, still following the words through the dark, then this final part is for you, for the part of you that needed the whole journey, that needed all of the opening and the releasing and the still water and the long faithfulness before it could arrive at this place. You are here now, and this is the place of the final laying down. Not the laying down of specific worries or individual burdens, the laying down of the whole of it, the whole self, into the hands that have been proven faithful through everything we have talked about across this night. Into His hands. That is what this part is about. The final surrender, the one that is not a defeat but a homecoming, the placing of the whole self into the care of the one who made the self and knows it better than it knows itself and holds it more carefully than it has ever been able to hold itself, into His hands. Jesus said those words from the cross in His final breath. Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. The words of Psalm 31 verse 5. Ancient words, words that had been prayed by the people of God for generations before Jesus prayed them, and He prayed them at the moment of the ultimate release, the moment of the complete and final letting go. Those words are available to you tonight, not from the cross, from your bed, from the ordinary sacred place of a night that belongs to God. The same words, the same hands, the same receiving. Father, into your hands. That is where we are going, all the way in, all the way there. Psalm 31 verse 5. Into your hands I commit my spirit. Deliver me, Lord, my faithful God. Into your hands. The hands of God are not an abstraction. In Scripture they are specific and active. They are the hands that formed the first human from the dust, that parted the water, that caught Elijah under the juniper tree, that prepared the meal on the shore, that were pierced on the cross and emerged from the tomb and will one day wipe every tear from every face. These are the hands you are committing yourself to tonight, not the hands of a distant God who created the world and stepped back to observe, the hands of the one who is actively involved, who is present in the details, who has been attending to you specifically through this entire night. I commit my spirit, not just the body that needs sleep, the spirit, the deepest part, the part that carries the weight that the sleep alone cannot reach, the part that has been tired in ways that the rest has not yet fully touched. That part, into His hands. The committing is an act of will, not a feeling. You may not feel the peace of it immediately, but the act of committing is real regardless of the feeling. The placement is real, the hands that receive are real, and He is a faithful God. That is the last phrase of the verse. Deliver me, Lord, my faithful God. The appeal is to His faithfulness, not to your deserving, not to your performance of trust, to His character, to who He is. He is faithful, and that faithfulness is the ground you are placing yourself on tonight, into your hands. Faithful God, receive me. There is a moment just before sleep that is unlike any other moment in the day. The mind begins to release its grip on the waking world. The thoughts lose their edges. The things that felt urgent soften. The body becomes heavier. The distance between one thought and the next grows wider. And in those widening spaces, something else becomes present. Something quieter. Something that was there all day but could not be heard over the noise of the doing and the managing and the trying. The presence in those moments just before sleep. The veil between the conscious and the deep is very thin, and what lives on the other side of the noise is closer than it ever is during the waking hours. He is very close right now, not closer than he was in the daytime, but easier to feel, because the things that make him hard to feel have gone quiet. The striving has quieted, the controlling has quieted, the managing has quieted, and in the quiet, he is simply here, not waiting for you to reach him. Already here, already close, already attending to you with the full quality of his presence, the same presence that spoke the world into being, the same presence that was in the burning bush and the still small voice in the garden on the morning of the resurrection. That presence, here, in this room, at this hour. You do not have to reach for it. You do not have to produce the right feeling or the right posture or the right spiritual state to access it. Just be still and know. He is here, right here, closer than the breath that is slowing in your chest. He is here, Philippians 4 verses 6 and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Do not be anxious about anything. Paul wrote these words from prison, not from a comfortable place of having figured out how to live without anxiety, from chains, from the uncertainty of a trial that could end in execution, from the very circumstances that would justify anxiety by any reasonable measure. Do not be anxious about anything, not because the circumstances do not warrant anxiety, because there is somewhere better to take what the anxiety is carrying. In every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Every situation, not just the spiritually significant ones, not just the ones that feel worthy of bringing to God. The small frightening ones and the large terrifying ones, and the ones that feel too mundane to pray about and the ones that feel too enormous to approach. Every situation, bring it, and the peace of God which transcends all understanding will guard your hearts and your minds. Guard, like a soldier at a post. The peace of God standing at the door of the heart and the mind, not letting in what has no business entering. Keeping watch so you do not have to. You have been keeping watch yourself for a long time. You have been the guard at your own door, exhausted from the vigilance, worn from the constant alertness. Tonight, let the peace of God take the post. Present your requests with thanksgiving, and then step back from the door. He is guarding now. You can rest. Isaiah 40 verses 28 through 31. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. He will not grow tired or weary. The one who is watching over you right now is not tired, is not managing his attention across too many demands, is not rationing the care because there are too many people who need it tonight. He does not grow tired, and his understanding no one can fathom. The thing you cannot figure out, the situation that makes no sense from where you are standing, he understands it fully, from every angle, from the beginning to the end. Nothing about your life or your circumstances or your fear is beyond his understanding. He gives strength to the weary. That is you tonight, weary, and that is exactly who this promise is for. Not for the ones who have their reserves well stocked, for the weary, the depleted, the ones who ran out of what they needed to keep going and are here on empty. He gives strength to that one. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. The renewing is coming. It may come tonight in sleep. It may come in the morning. It may come slowly across the days ahead. But it is coming to the one who hopes in him. Wings like eagles, running and not growing weary, walking and not fainting. That is what is ahead of you. On the other side of the trusting and the resting and the placing of yourself into his hands, hope in him tonight and wait for the renewing. It is on its way. I want to talk about what it means to hope in the Lord, because hope is the word Isaiah uses, and hope is often misunderstood. Hope in Scripture is not wishful thinking, not the crossing of fingers and the vague feeling that things might turn out all right. Hope in Scripture is a confident expectation based on the character and the promises of God. It is not optimism, it is certainty about the one who holds the outcome. When Isaiah says those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength, he is saying those who place their confident expectation in the character of God, those who look at the record of his faithfulness and say, I expect him to be faithful again, because he has always been faithful, because his nature does not change, because what he has been he is, and what he is he will be. That is the hope, and it is not passive. It is an active orientation of the soul, a turning toward, a fixing of the eyes on the one who is trustworthy, the way a plant turns toward the light, not dramatically, not with great effort, just turning in the direction of the source. Turn toward him tonight, even in the dark, even when you cannot see the light yet. Turn toward where you know the light to be. He is there. In the direction of the turning, receiving the orientation of the soul that has decided to hope in him even in the hard season. And the renewing is already beginning, in the turning, in the hoping, in the placing of the confident expectation on the one who has never given anyone a reason to stop expecting from him. Hope in the Lord, and wait for the wings. The night is at its deepest now. This is the hour that Psalm 46 describes as the fourth watch, the hours between deep dark and first light. The hours that feel the longest, when the dawn has not yet begun and the night has been going on long enough that the body and the soul are at their most tired and their most open. This is when he comes, walking on the water in the fourth watch, not waiting for the easier hours, not waiting for the crossing to be complete before appearing. Coming in the deepest, darkest, hardest hours, when the straining at the oars has been going on the longest, when the wind has been against the longest, he comes then. If this is your fourth watch, if the night has been long and the crossing has been hard and the dawn has not yet appeared on the horizon of whatever you are walking through, he is coming. He saw you from the shore before you knew he was watching. He has been watching since before the night began. And he is not content to watch from a distance. He comes across whatever water is between you, in whatever hour is darkest. Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid. Those words are being spoken into this room right now, into this dark, into whatever the specific fear is that has been the loudest tonight. Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid. And he is getting into the boat, into the specific situation, into the crossing you are making, into the night that has been against you. And the wind will die down, not always immediately, but he is in the boat, and nothing that is in the boat with him is ultimately at the mercy of the wind. He is here, in the boat, with you. Rest. Let us stay for a moment with the image of open hands. We have returned to it many times across this night. It is the central image of trust, the physical posture of a soul that has released what it was holding, that is receiving rather than grasping, that has chosen the vulnerability of the open palm over the false safety of the closed fist. Open hands. In the culture of the ancient world, open hands were the posture of prayer, of worship, of receiving. The upturned palm was the gesture of someone who had come to receive something from a source outside themselves, who acknowledged their own insufficiency and the sufficiency of the one they were coming to. Open hands tonight. Not just as a metaphor, actually. If your hands are resting at your sides or on the bed beside you, let them be open, palms up, the physical language of the spiritual posture. This is what you are saying with the open hands. I am not holding this anymore. I am not in charge of the outcome. I am not the one responsible for making this work. I am bringing my need and my trust and my imperfect faith, and I'm holding them out to you with open hands. And I am waiting to receive, not demanding, not bargaining, receiving the way a child receives a gift from a parent, without earning it, without explaining why they deserve it, just with open hands and the trust that the parent gives good things. He gives good things. Not always the thing you asked for in the form you asked for it, but good things. Things suited to who you are and what you need and where you are going. Things that only he can see are right for you from where he stands. Open hands. Receiving. That is the posture of tonight. And he is filling what is held out to him. There is one more story I want to sit with before we move into the final prayer. The story of the prodigal son. But not the part everyone knows. Not the son leaving, not the years in the far country, not the coming to his senses and rehearsing the speech he would give when he returned. The part that happens before the son arrives home. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him and kissed him. While he was still a long way off. The father was watching, had been watching, long enough to see the son while he was still a long way off, which means the father had been looking toward the road that led away from home, had been standing somewhere with his eyes on the horizon, waiting, watching, not having given up, not having moved on, still watching. While you were still a long way off, in the seasons of distance, in the years of the far country, in the moments of tonight when the trust has felt thin and the faith has felt fragile and you have felt a long way from where you want to be with God. He saw you. He was filled with compassion. He ran. The God of the universe runs toward the returning one, toward the one still a long way off, with compassion. Not with the speech he had prepared about the disappointment, with arms already open, already moving, already closing the distance before you finished closing it. He ran to you. He is running to you tonight, with compassion, with the arms already open, with the robe and the ring and the celebration already being prepared. You do not have to finish the journey before he meets you. He is already running. We are almost there, almost to the place where the words stop and the night takes over and the soul rests in what has been placed in the hands that never tire and never fail and never let go. Almost there. Let the body be heavy now. Let the weight of it be complete. Let the muscles release every last thing they have been holding, the shoulders, the jaw, the hands, the chest. Let all of it go. Let the bed hold what the body has been holding. Let the darkness hold what the light has been requiring. And let him hold the rest, the things that are too big for the body to hold anyway, the worries that have no physical address but have been taking up physical space, the fears that have been living in the chest and the throat and the tight places of a body that has been bracing against the uncertain future. Let them go into his hands, not because you have finished processing them, not because you have understood them or resolved them or made peace with them in any final sense, just because the night requires it, because the body was not made to hold them through the sleeping hours, because there is one who is awake and able and willing to hold them while you rest, and he will still have them in the morning, safe, held, not dropped or forgotten or misplaced, exactly where you gave them, in the hands that do not tire. And in the morning you can look at them again with new eyes, with the mercy that is new every morning, with the strength that is renewed in the one who hopes in the Lord. But that is the morning, this is the night, and the night is for this, for the final release, for the open hands, for the soul going quiet at last, into his hands, into his hands. Say it in your mind, or out loud if you need the sound of it. Father, into your hands I commit my spirit, the whole of tonight, every part of this night, the worries that were loudest when you first lay down, the burdens that have been with you so long they feel like a part of you, the people you love and cannot protect, the futures you cannot see, the questions without answers, the waiting without end in sight. Into your hands, the body that is tired, the soul that has been depleted, the faith that has been imperfect and thin in places and stronger in others, the trust that has wavered and returned and wavered again across this night. Into your hands, the things you did today that you wish you had done differently, the words spoken and unspoken, the failures and the small victories and the ordinary unremarkable hours that made up most of it. Into your hands, the morning that is coming, whatever it holds, whatever demands it will bring, whatever it asks of you before you are ready to be asked, whatever news it carries, whatever the next step of the journey requires. Into your hands, all of it, every part, the past and the present and the future, the known and the unknown, the resolved and the still broken, the already surrendered and the parts the hands keep coming back to, all of it, into your hands. He receives it, every part, with the same quality of care, the same faithfulness, the same steadfast love that endures forever. Into your hands, it is done. You have given it, and he has received it. Rest now. Let us pray. Father, we have traveled a long way through this night together, through the opening of the hands and the letting go and the still water and the long faithfulness, and now here, to the final placing, the committing of the Spirit into your hands. Receive us, as we are, tired, imperfect in our trust, still carrying some of what we tried to release and releasing it again now at the end of this long night. Receive us. We thank you for Isaiah 40, for the promise that you do not grow tired, that your understanding is fathomless, that you give strength to the weary and renew the strength of the ones who hope in you. We are hoping in you tonight, even when the hope is small, even when it is a hoping against hope. We are turned toward you, eyes on the horizon where you are. We thank you for Philippians 4, for the invitation to present everything to you with thanksgiving, for the promise that the peace which passes understanding will guard our hearts and our minds. Stand at the door tonight. Let the peace guard what we cannot guard ourselves. Keep out what has no business entering the sleeping hours. We thank you for Psalm 31, for the hands that receive what is committed to them, for the faithfulness that makes the committing safe, for Jesus who prayed these words in his final breath and showed us that the most complete surrender is also the most complete trust. Into your hands, we thank you for the prodigal's father who was watching while the son was still a long way off, who ran, who threw his arms around the returning one before the speech was finished, who had the robe and the ring already ready. Thank you that you are that Father, that you run toward us, that you have already prepared what we need for when we return. We have returned tonight, however imperfectly, however partially. We have returned. Receive us and hold us through the night. Watch over everyone who has traveled through this night with us, all 5 parts, or just this one, or just the last 10 minutes of it because sleep came late and they woke and needed something to carry them back to rest. However much they received, however they arrived here, watch over every one of them, the ones who are trusting for the first time. Let this night be the beginning of a long history of discovering that you are safe, that the trust always lands somewhere real, that the open hands always receive something worth receiving. The ones who have been trusting for decades, who know your faithfulness by long experience and are resting in it tonight with the ease of someone who has rested here many times before. Honor that faithfulness. Bless the long journey. Let the deep roots drink deeply tonight. The ones who are in the hardest season of their lives, who came to this night with the heaviest thing they have ever carried, who needed every word and still feel like they are only barely holding on. Hold them with particular tenderness, with the specific care of the shepherd for the sheep that is most tired and most vulnerable. Do not let them fall. The ones who are carrying someone else, who are not just trusting for themselves but for someone they love who cannot trust for themselves right now. A child, a spouse, a parent, a friend. Honor the proxy trust. Receive the offered faith on behalf of the one who has none to give. You honor that, you always have. The ones who fell asleep hours ago. In part 1 or part 2 or somewhere in the still water of part 3. They gave what they had, their willingness to lie down, their attempt at the open hands, their bodies that needed the rest more than the words. It was enough. It is always enough. You know every one, and you are holding every one. The night is yours. Not empty, not unguarded, not a gap in the care until the morning restores it. Yours, full, held, attended to by the one who neither slumbers nor sleeps, who has been in this room since before you lay down, who will be here when the morning finds its way through the curtains, who is here in every quiet moment between now and then, full of his presence, full of the peace that is guarding the heart and the mind. Standing at the door, keeping watch so you do not have to, full of the faithfulness that is as real in the dark as in the light, that does not require your awareness to continue, that holds you whether you feel it or not, full of the compassions that are already being prepared for the morning, new ones, made for whatever tomorrow holds, ready before you need them. The way a good father prepares what the child will need before the child wakes, full of the love that does not run out, the chesed that endures forever, the steadfast keeping love that has been faithful across all of human history and will be faithful through the rest of yours. The night is full of all of that, and you are resting in the fullness of it, not because you have trusted perfectly, because he holds faithfully, not because the hands have stayed open every moment, because his hands are always open, always receiving, always ready for whatever you bring. You are held by something that does not depend on you. That is the deepest rest there is, and it is yours tonight. And now, the final blessing of this night, the same blessing that has been spoken over the people of God since Moses gave it to Aaron for the people of Israel, the same blessing that was spoken at the end of worship for thousands of years, the same blessing that closes this night as it has closed 10,000 nights before it. The Lord bless you and keep you, bless you, with the good that only he can see you need, with provision that is specific to you, with the gifts that are suited to your particular life and your particular journey and your particular tomorrow. His blessing over you tonight, and keep you through the sleeping hours, through the dark, through whatever the night holds between now and morning. Keep you, hold you, not let you go. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. His face turn toward you, lit with the warmth of attention, the way a face lights when it looks at someone it loves. That face on you, specifically shining, and grace, free, unearned, not dependent on the quality of tonight's trust or the consistency of the surrender or the perfection of the open hands. Grace, simply given because that is who he is. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. He has already turned. He has always been turned. The face that searched for the lost is turned toward you. The face that ran down the road toward the returning one is turned toward you. The face that prepared the meal on the shore and said, "It is I, do not be afraid," is turned toward you. And peace, his peace, the kind that passes understanding, that guards, that holds, that does not depend on the circumstances making sense. Peace. Good night. Sleep well. You are loved. You are held. You are safe. The hands that hold the night are holding you, and they will not let go. Amen.